Yo, this could be a finals preview, but in the meantime, there's a freight train coming the Sixers' way, a team that's won 11 straight. Boogie Cousins making his home debut at Oracle in the process. And Boogie, they've had their history. They seem to get along well on the court by being competitors, and looking at the numbers the last 5 games, they've definitely been putting numbers up on the board. Can't wait to see that matchup. I'd love to see 2 bigs going at 2 traditional bigs. You really don't see that anymore because we know the 5 has kind of been swept up under the rug for the most part.
Well, that's why I want you to help use a different word than traditional. You know why? Because the traditional big men could not pop out to the wing and ISO. So that's why I've been trying to help. He was like, no, traditional big men would get cross screens or back screens to the post, bang, bang, baby hook, bang, bang, maybe kissed off the glass. These 2 jokers right here, they can pop out to the 3-point line, jab, jab, and shoot the 3 like a wingman. That's the difference. As much as I love that guy across the hall, Shaq can never do that. As much as we love the dream, maybe a little bit. David Robinson, maybe a little bit. But these 2, it's a totally different level, bro, because they can go right, they can go left, and now with the new NBA, they step back. No center could step back and shoot the 3. So that's why I've been trying to tell people, change the word traditional, because that is the true difference from the Patrick Ewings, the Lonzo Mournings of the world, because if those guys were trying to do this now, they'd be a fish out of water because they want to get down low and bang and be physical. So to your point, it's fun to see 2 guys that have the fundamental skills to do both.
That is true. So traditional big men, but they have expanded their horizons.
Yes.
Looking at Joel Embiid, well, that's just Boogie Cousins. Over the last 5 games, shooting 55% from downtown.
Talking to Boogie in Washington the other night for the players-only game, he's like, I'm still getting used to being wide open all the time. I'm still getting used to guys paying, or should I say, making that extra pass. And now I'm no longer the best player on the floor most nights. So now to buy into that and understanding that this team is willing to share every night,
yes,
that's why you see the flow and everything starting to come a little naturally. Last but not least, Ro, once he gets in better shape, the fouls will come down too, because right now he's using his hand instead of moving his body. All that's going to come better and better after the All-Star break.
Oh, and by the way, you want to make sure you pay attention tonight because that game is going to be on TNT, and there's a legend that made history. Once upon a time, his name was Jackie Robinson.
Ooh, look at them shorts, Jackie.
He was nice on the baseball diamond, but he was nice on the court. We got something special for you coming up. Oh, yes, he did. Yes, he did. There is Blake Griffin getting shots up. Will he be named a reserve for All-Star Weekend? We're going to find that out shortly. In fact, around 7 o'clock, you can turn into TNT where you'll find that out for sure.
Ooh, it's cold, boss.
It's so
cold.
That
means it's cold.
Top 2 teams in the East, one known for his offensive firepower, leading the NBA in scoring, while the other is known for defense.
No, Giannis said, nah, I'm so chilly right
now. Giannis bringing the heat.
Yeah, I see you, Snell with the Scully.
Oh, yeah, they both bringing the heat tonight. Both
I'll trade for you, Todd. I'll trade for you.
And hey, y'all remember the celebration of the championship? Yeah. Still legendary.
Oh,
he's still out in these streets, though. Fast forward to present day, that is Mr. Bell, Golden State, out there on the runway to rep and check.
Hey, at least I know it's not cold there because he got them shorts on.
Hey, hit them folks one time.
You guys are going to ask about the trade. I can't really talk about it until the trade call is done. According to what I've heard, that could be sometime around 6 o'clock Eastern time. Could be a few minutes earlier, could be afterwards. Other than that, really can't comment on it.
A blockbuster 6-player trade that you might not have been expecting. Chris Porzingis in a 7-player deal going to the Dallas Mavericks. Got Kenny Jet Smith here, Mr. Players Only, Dennis 3D Scott. We're going to chop it up about all of this, get to the bottom, see who won the deal. This trade right here that broke this afternoon. Of course, you're now rocking with the best officially. Ro Parrish here along with the aforementioned esteemed colleagues of mine, Kenny Jet Smith, Dennis 3D Scott, Players Only.
Real quick, bro, can you explain to our fans and viewers, though, why Porzingis didn't get traded versus Anthony Davis and his representation getting traded? Because, Kenny, when that happened, I was like, wait a minute, why does Anthony Davis get traded? I don't remember Carmelo getting fined. I don't remember Kyrie getting fined when he asked to be traded. So explain to people so they understand why the difference on this trade, why no one's in this uproar for Porzingis.
So basically breaking down like 3D asked me to do, when you go to your agent and put out an official press release releasing it to the media, that's why the NBA chose to fine Anthony Davis $50K earlier on Monday for requesting a trade publicly.
He had to do that, though.
Why did he have to do it?
Because Anthony Davis is in a different position. He's in a position of trying to let everyone know that he's given the Hornets an opportunity to make a trade and get the Pelicans rather, to make a trade, and New Orleans to make a trade and get assets back. If he did not do that, he could have looked selfish and said, oh, I'm just waiting, and then I don't go to the team I possibly want to play with, and then go somewhere else. So now it gives the true teams that he would actually sign with the opportunity to do it, and it makes everyone a little bit better, and he'll take the $50,000 fine for that.
We talk about making everybody better. Let's talk about this deal right here that's on the table and see who it makes better. Break it down. A 7-2
This was
deal.
crazy, man.
You see the Knicks, they received Jordan, Matthews, Dennis Smith Jr., and 2 first-round draft picks. Meanwhile, the Mavericks get Trey Burke, Courtney Lee, Tim Hardaway Jr., and Mr. Unicorn. So looking at this deal right now.
I didn't realize Courtney Lee was involved too.
Yeah. Well, hey.
That's serviceable, yeah,
Trey
serviceable. Trey Burks played better, kind of rejuvenated, so to speak.
Resurrected his career with the Knicks.
We know what Tim Hardaway Jr. does, Kenny. He knocks down shots. And now the question is, how healthy is Porzingis? Will he play this year now, Kenny? Was he setting out? Was New York Knicks holding him out? So that type of stuff for me needs to come out now, Kenny, and say, yes, the physical, we're going to go through all that process, see where his leg is and so forth. But right now, Kenny, Dallas looks pretty good in this deal.
Pretty good. I mean, you would say, forget the guys there, Luka Doncic.
Yes. Yes.
You have possibly the youngest up-and-coming superstar, not star. The difference between an all-star and superstar. Luka has a chance to be a superstar. And you're adding Porzingis, who has a chance to be not an all-star, but a superstar. So you're putting in the West the dimension of what everyone else around the West has.
Yeah.
So you look at Golden State, you look at the Lakers, what they're trying to do, and everyone else is trying to blend. They're saying, okay, Golden State, when you have that fall off, and one of those guys leave, now we're right there, because you can't really put a team together to compete with Golden State every night.
Right.
But you have to be the one ready when Golden State leaves. When Boogie leaves next year, maybe one of those free agents leave, and all of a sudden we're in the mix. You cannot compete with the current team. So they understand that, I think, and then put in Tim Hardaway as the 3rd or 4th best player on your team.
Another shot maker for the
But with the Knicks, he's your best player right now. And now he's their 4th best player possibly at times. That, to me, I would say right away. And the Knicks would just say, hey, we're going for free agency.
I'm glad that you brought up that point, because that is how we do in TV. We segue, looking at free agency, the potential free agents.
That's a big gamble.
Available. Now,
huge gamble.
If the 2 players away, talking about Wesley Matthews and DeAndre Jordan, that could potentially create $74 million in cap space available for the Knicks to potentially bring in one of these.
Kemba's going home. Kemba's going home, Kenny.
Think so?
Well, I'm just saying,
but no, you think about this. Can you leave that picture up for 1 second? Can we put that picture back for 1 second? Because
I don't think KD and Clay are never going. I don't think they're going to stiff the mark.
But think about this. Okay, let's say KD and Clay and Kawhi Leonard stay where they are, and your 2 free agents are Kemba Walker and Jimmy Butler. You're not better than with KP, with Porzingis.
Exactly.
So you have to. This is a huge gamble, hoping that a Kevin Durant, a Leonard, a Kyrie Irving and a Klay Thompson, someone else is coming to your team. That's a huge gamble. That's a gamble I don't know if I could have taken at this point. Yeah, it's just a huge gamble. I'll just leave it as that.
Well, I mean, you talk about
I'm with you.
I mean, looking back at the Knicks over the years, they've gambled a lot this summer of 2010.
And they've been coming up short every year.
So they only get they signed Amari Stoudemire in 2010.
They got an old Amari. They got a banged up Amari.
Yeah, they did.
The Knicks have been doing really, Steve Mills and Scott have been doing some really good things. This is a huge gamble that, you're swinging for the fences. And you have to understand what the climate is of the free agencies, what free agent players are. You have to have your ear to the street. You have to have your ear to the gym. And you have to have your ear to the families. So you have to know a lot to make a move like this, knowing that there is a real strong possibility of what guys are feeling internally.
Right.
Because this is an internal feeling. Because, you look at Paul George last year.
Yep.
This guy turned down the Los Angeles Lakers, the storied franchise in the city that is just offers everything that he has, a hometown product, and he stays in Oklahoma. So to make a gamble like this, to me, that the Paul George of last year would make me hesitate on gambling and say, no, I'm gonna trade for someone.
Right.
To get them in and convince them to stay before I try to get them in free agency.
Well, the trade that is yet to happen is the one where Anthony Davis exits the Pelicans. The
he's out.
It hasn't taken place just yet, but Alvin Gentry, he's already over it.
To me, to be honest with you, it really pisses me off, if you want to know the truth, if you want me to speak in layman's terms. Because you should ask us if we feel like second-class citizens. And I can tell you right now, that is the farthest from the truth there is. There is nothing that we ask for or we want or anything that they won't give us and Mrs. B won't give us to try to help us win games. So whoever wrote that, you're actually full of shit, if you want to know the truth.
Earmuffs, kiddies. So when you hear him say it's like we're a second-class franchise organization, what is that? How do you react to hearing
7 years, man? I think it was 7 years he's been here. 7 years is is that mark for most great players, and they say either I'm going to be here for the rest of my career, or I'm going to move. It has nothing to do with. I don't even think the New Orleans Pelicans being a second-class organization has nothing to do with that. Mm-hmm. They've treated him with the utmost respect. They brought in Boogie Cousins last year. They brought in Nurkic. They brought in Rondo. They signed Holiday. They have made some moves that would be, could possibly put him in position, but it just hasn't. So he's saying this is the 7-year mark, and that is the indicator. I don't even know off the top of my head when Chris Webber was a free agent, when Akeem Olajuwon, like all of these guys from the past, and now you bring LeBron James in his 7th year. What did he like? That's the year when guys say, "I'm gonna stay here forever," or "I'm gonna leave."
And that last point, I think this past year by not bringing back Rondo, we know Boogie's injury kind of made everyone hesitant. I think if you'd have done a few more things, to Kenny's point, and after talking to Rich Paul at the game the other night, that was the deciding factor. In year 7, you're not making the moves that makes us feel comfortable that we want to stay here for our whole career. That's why Rich Paul did what he did.
Well, it makes sense so far in those 7 seasons. The Pelicans have only made it to the postseason twice.
I don't even think it's the moves, though, and D. I don't think it's the moves that they make. Because I think those moves that they made, they were going for it, in a sense. It just didn't work out. Now, it's like, you tried, but it just, that wasn't the girl I wanted to take to the prom. Or I even could get to I couldn't even get a prom invitation. Because I didn't get to the playoffs.
You couldn't get to dinner.
So now it didn't work out. It doesn't have anything to do that you didn't do all of the things. You bought the flowers, you bought the candy, you set up the limousine. It's just nobody, you opened the limousine and nobody was in it. No playoff was inside of that limousine.
Right.
3D, any more prom day commentary?
No, I think we hit on the head. I just wanted to make sure the casual fan understood.
No doubt.
We got so much, Twitter, how come all this guy get fined and that? I just want everyone to understand why the process was the way it was.
Well, that's what we're here for, to give you knowledge, everything. Trade Deadline Show is coming up. We're going to have it here for you. Make sure you keep it locked on NBA TV, February 6th.
When is that? Man, I might come in for that.
I mean, you might have to, Jay.
I might just fly in early for that.
I mean, you might as well. Back-to-back Thursday and Wednesday, we got you covered. Check the times are on your screen. But tonight, that's Giannis. You know, the Bucks have gone 11-3 in January, tied for the best mark in the NBA. They visit the Raptors, who have the second best record at home in the East, 21-4. Who's going to win tonight? It's on TNT.
He'll never get traded.
Oh, he can! I wasn't sure if I could do that still. You good? You good? You good, Lefty? What you want to do? Yep, I got nail. I'm nail. I'm low. Here you go. Ball here. Help. We out. Get it up. Get through, yep. Here you go, ball here. Here you go, go ahead. Now you gotta get that right leg around. Get that right leg, there you go, yes. You keep doing that, you money, keep going. Hard work on 3, 1, 2, 3.
Vince Carter firing up the troops here in Atlanta during practice. He turned 42 years of age this week. 42.
It's amazing he's still playing.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable, and he's still in the rotation. He's still getting minutes, and he's still reasonably productive.
Still dunking.
37+% from 3, still getting dunks here and there.
No, it's pretty remarkable. Great career, and for him to still, after all these years, all that mileage, out there playing, having fun, the love of the game, being an impact in the locker room and on the court.
Y'all might be a new trendsetter, Grant, with the Atlanta Hawks. The first player, coach, broadcaster.
Yeah, no, I
think Vince
I've done games with him. He's already done some broadcasting.
Just play like in the second quarter.
Yeah,
and go back to the
halftime, do halftime media, and then play and then coach.
During his regularly scheduled breaks, he just walks over to the table and sits down with Bob Rathman and Dominic. No, during the game, why not?
Pre and post show and halftime, and then play and then coach a little bit.
He can do that.
Yeah.
He began his NBA career before the 2 first-round picks, Kevin Huerter and Trae Young, were even born.
Wow. It's amazing. But the benefit, obviously, in Atlanta to have a guy like that, a Hall of Fame, a future Hall of Famer, a guy that they might not have remembered because he was so young, but a guy that had an impact on the game, that has value, who can contribute in the locker room. His locker is sandwiched in between John Collins and Trae Young, and that's intentional by Lloyd Pierce because his experience, his professionalism, everything about him. And then on top of that, what he's still doing on the court, it's pretty remarkable.
I mean, you could talk to the guys, Trae and John Collins, I would talk to them about every, trying to absorb everything. Also longevity. What is he doing to be able to play at this level for this long? It's remarkable to have a guy like that. It's invaluable for John Collins and this entire, Hawks organization.
What can Trae Young pick up from Carter, and what have you liked about him?
Well, I think if I'm a rookie and I'm really going and asking Vince, the dog days of the NBA, my shooting percentage, what do I need to do? And I think he's turned that corner. The game against the Clippers, I thought was one of his best games. Not numbers-wise. The reason for me, Grant, was you're going up against Avery Bradley, one of the best, Patrick Beverly, and then you have Lent and the other rookie, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. That, to me, the way he continuously drove the basketball, making plays in the paint, I thought it was his best game of the season.
I think to Smitty's point earlier, in terms of just showing them how to take care of yourself, your longevity. Trae is a smaller guy. I think he working on his body. As a small guy, he's going to have to be very intentional. He's going to have to be very strategic in terms of what he does, taking care of himself. Like a lot of young guys these days, nutrition, training, diet, all that stuff, you can get by just on talent. And now at this level, he's come in and made a great impact and shown that he belongs. But do you want to be special? And what does it take to get to that level as a guy who's a smaller guy? And Vince, having been around, played with some greats, he's a great himself. I just think understanding how to take care of your body, be a professional, all those things, not just for Trae Young, but for all those guys, but particularly for Trae, who's got the toughest job in a league at the point guard position where every night it's a tough matchup. So, but yeah, he's invaluable. He's been awesome, and I think he has another year left in him.
I do too.
Hawks
Player, coach,
are out of
broadcast.
town. As you probably heard, the Super Bowl is here in Atlanta this week, so not coincidentally, the Hawks are out of town on a long road trip. 7 games. They're 2-1 so far. And over his last 2 games, Trae Young has averaged 28 and 8 assists a game and shooting nearly 64% from the field. All right, we'll